everybody, today I am going to show you how to create a laser cat image with flaming lasers coming out of a cat's eyes. So this should be super fun. The first thing that you need, of course, is an image of a cat. The cat should be facing in a direction where you can see both of the eyes, and you should be able to see the entire body of the cat as well. Once we've done that, we've found that cat image and we've opened it up into Photoshop, then we need to duplicate that layer. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this layer and then just hit Command J. You can also right click on this layer and select duplicate layer, and that will work as well. Once you've done that, we need to create some lasers coming out of the cat's eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer on top of that cat layer, and I'm just going to do that by clicking on the little new layer tab down here in the bottom of my layers panel. And then I'm going to go to my pen tool. So my pen tool over here I'm going to use to draw lasers. Now you kind of want to think about where you want these lasers to go. I could have them going straight up, I could have them going down. If you have something else that you want that cat to be directing its lasers to, like maybe they go down to a point, so you kind of get to decide. And I'm going to click to set the first point in the eyeball of the cat, and then the second point is going to go to where I want that laser to go. Now I just want these to go kind of off the page, so I'm going to click out here. Then I'm going to hold down my Command key so that I get to my direct selection arrow, and I'm going to click so that I can reset my pen tool. Now if you can't do that, you can just go over here and click on the pen tool again, and that should reset it as well. Then I'm going to click in this eyeball and then click out here, and then hold down that Command key again and click off to the side. So now I have these two paths. Now I want to put kind of a laser beam coming out of these eyes before I start to create flames with these. So what I'm going to do is go to my brush tool. I want to make sure that my brush size, well first of all my actual brush that I'm using should be General Brushes, Soft Round. And then my brush size, I'm going to hover this brush, let me zoom in a bit here. Hover this brush over the path to kind of see how wide that brush will apply once it goes on the path. So if I want it a little bit smaller, which I do, I'm going to use my bracket keys to take that down. So the open bracket is to decrease the size, the closed bracket will increase the size. So now if I look at that, let me go back in a little bit, that's a pretty good size. You also want a laser color, so you know orange or yellow would be a good color to use, and it needs to be pretty bright. So actually I'm going to go in here and just make sure that that's really high saturation. Okay, so now while I'm in the brush tool I can just hit return, and because I have this new layer here, those laser eyes have been applied. Now do not delete your paths yet, because the next step you will need these paths as well. So the next step that I'm going to do is create a new layer on top of this laser eye layer, and then I'm going to go to filter and go down to render and choose flame. Okay, now we haven't used this before, but render is really cool because it actually allows you to create these different things that they have in the render options. So one of those things is flames. And you can see here, you have to have a path that they're applying to, but here we can see what our flames are going to look like if we apply them to the paths that we currently have. Notice that you can decrease the length of these, the width, the angle, and even the interval, so that's how many that you see within that path. So I might go ahead and just take the length down a little bit. There we go. You can adjust it, you know, based on what you think will work for whatever direction and length of path that you had for those lasers. When you're happy with that, you can just go ahead and hit OK. Now it may take a second because it is rendering something, so this is taking a while to do, but there you go. You can see the flames that have been applied to the paths that I have. And if you don't like those, you can always go back and redo them as long as you have those paths there. If you do like them and you're happy and you just want to end there, then you can go back to your pen tool and hit return to delete those paths. Okay. So, of course, this is pretty fun and goofy, but it would be even more fun if we had this cat in a different setting. So the cat could be in space, the cat could be in maybe like some kind of Terminator situation. So kind of think about where the best setting would be for your cat. And then we're going to go through and we're going to select just the cat and mask it into that setting. So the first thing, I do not have my setting in here, so I'm actually going to go through and just select the cat and mask it and then place my setting in. So I will show you how to do that. I'm using the quick selection tool. You can see that there can be issues with that depending on how clear your cat image is. Also make sure when you're selecting that you are actually in the layer of that cat. If you are not, then that will also make it very difficult. Notice too, if you over select something, you can hold the Option key down and select outside of that cat to deselect. Okay, so once I have this cat selected, I'm going to go ahead and mask the cat, and you just do that by clicking on this little button that looks like the Japanese flag at the bottom of your layers. Now, it didn't look like anything happened, but that's because I have this duplicate layer underneath. So now I need to click on this background layer and place embedded, a different setting. So I'm just going to use an image that I got for a different project, but I think I should be able to use this pretty well for this project as well. So there is a space image. If I zoom out here, I can hold the Shift key down and scale this up so that I get kind of outer space background for my cat. And there you go, space laser cat. Now, one final thing you may want to do before you're all done, see how this ear is kind of choppy and there's some different parts here that aren't looking great. You may want to click on the mask in this layer, go back in with your brush, make sure it's a soft round brush, which you can find in your general brushes, and then using black and white, which you'll see over here in your foreground and background color, you can paint the mask to either show or hide. So I'm going to switch my foreground color to white, and I can just do that by hitting X on the keyboard. And then I'm going to paint this in a little bit here. And because I have a cat, if it's a little fuzzy, you know, if I have kind of a fuzzy edge to this, that's okay because the cat is fuzzy. So it's not going to look weird to have a little bit of a haze on that. You just want it to not be like a super linear haze, like something that's like just a thick line. You want something that looks a little bit more natural. So go through and wherever you can do that, go ahead and do that. And then there you go, your laser cat. So have fun creating some laser cats and using the render option, and you might even want to experiment in there with some different rendering possibilities. There's trees, there's clouds, there's all sorts of different things that you can do, but I just thought it'd be fun to create a fire laser cat. So enjoy, have some fun. I look forward to seeing what you guys do.